Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Price, and I am the founder of the New Jersey Tech Meetup and Propellify. I'm honored to welcome you here today alongside Governor Murphy and prominent tech leaders from around the state. The New Jersey Tech Meetup's grown over the last 8 years into the largest community of entrepreneurs and innovators in the state of New Jersey, now with over 7,000 members. We're thrilled to represent this community, where many of us get together each month, actually tomorrow, where we unite to inspire ideas, to educate one another, and to advance our network and our knowledge. My experience with the New Jersey Tech Meetup inspired me to launch Propellify and our now second annual Propellify Innovation Festival, which has grown to become one of the largest technology events actually in the world. 10,000 of us are welcomed to the Hoboken waterfront here in New Jersey, where we meet to educate and inspire the next generation of groundbreaking ideas and companies. It's to propel ideas into action, as our name suggests. Many of the companies that we represent at the New Jersey Tech Meetup and at Propellify have benefited from an open and fair internet from a net neutral environment. It's this democratic openness that it represents that we believe must be maintained, that rewards the pursuit of creativity with those with the courage to hit publish. That's why I'm here today, to lend my full support and endorsement to Governor Murphy and his policy to make sure that we maintain here in New Jersey a fair and open internet, especially today, where issues of equality and of access are of utmost importance. We must not allow such a disparity to poison the well of innovation. Imagine if the startups that we represent never made it to your home screen because of a lack of net neutrality. Many of the largest companies that we know of by name today in the tech ecosystem flourish because of this. We must celebrate and protect this openness. So one of those companies that we showcase at the Propellify Innovation Festival is InCharged, where we gather here today. Our mission at the Propellify Innovation Festival is to empower, our mission at the Propellify Innovation Festival is to empower ideas into action. And the mission of InCharged is actually to power the community of innovators at events and corporations around the globe. So I'm pleased to welcome Jessica Gonzalez, the CEO of InCharged, whose official title is In Charged at InCharged. Jessica.
Love that.
Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jessica Gonzalez, and I'd like to welcome you all here today. And I'd like to thank Governor Murphy for his leadership and commitment to take the tech industry to new heights. If you look around the room today and the space that you're sitting in, you should know that InCharge wasn't always this big. Born and raised in New Jersey, I've always had a knack for innovation, and I constantly look for new ways to inspire others and solve problems that they may have. This desire led me to FIT in New York, where I studied advertising design. I was living in Union City at the time, commuting back and forth from home to FIT. The nights I would stay late at school to catch up on work or study a little longer were also the nights that I found myself in some trouble. My cell phone was constantly dying. The one thing I relied on the most was also the one thing that seemed to betray me quite often. I would rely on subway maps and ask others for time in order to find my way back home. As I expressed my frustration to friends and colleagues, I found that I was not the only person who had this problem. So I decided to do something about it. I packed my bag, moved back to my dad's house, and worked 3 jobs to create what is known as InCharge today. I stand before you as a proud CEO and founder of InCharge, a tech company that has helped thousands, if not millions, around our country keep their devices charged. But what would happen if we couldn't share our message or our products with others? If we could not reach consumers because they didn't have access to the internet? Net neutrality protects and helps tech companies like mine. It allows for companies to communicate with every consumer and levels the playing field for entrepreneurs. Everyone should have access to a free and open internet. The internet has allowed companies like mine to take off and flourish and become the success it is today. Without net neutrality, businesses and communities throughout New Jersey will suffer. This is why I proudly stand with Governor Murphy and support his efforts to fight net neutrality and for fair access to the internet. Thank you for including InCharge in this fight. Please help me give a warm welcome to Governor Phil Murphy.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. It is a real treat to be here. I want to get this off my chest and just say I offer my congratulations to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Before any of you have asked me about that. That was maybe the craziest game I've ever watched in my life. Good afternoon, Jessica. Thank you so much for welcoming us here to In Charged. A very cool setup you've got. Your entrepreneurial track record is incredibly impressive. I also want to thank the owners who are with us in this building. It's businesses like this that are creating the innovation economy we need to move New Jersey forward. And in an industry in particular, point of personal privilege, in an industry where women are underrepresented, I'm so glad to see you building and leading this exciting and growing tech firm. So congratulations to you and your colleagues. And to my friend Aaron Price, who I met when it was cold, dark, and lonely in my tire-kicking pre-campaign for governor. The NJ Tech Meetup is making sure the voices of New Jersey's startup community are heard, and I've learned a lot from you and your members. I look forward to a continuing partnership to make New Jersey not just a good place, but the place for innovation, and wish you great success in your festival coming up in May. I also want to thank everybody who's here, in particular 5 rock star members of the Assembly in front of me. So to Annette, Nick, Ralph, Ileana, Shanique, thank you so much for your being here today. You know, you're known by the company you keep, and the fact that you were here means a lot to us and to me personally. We will get that innovation economy. We'll reclaim our space. It'll be because of the likes of these folks, the folks who house them. I hope our fair share, the private sector, companies big and small, but also the leadership in the legislature. So thank you at all levels of government, but particularly for your help. 7 weeks ago, the Federal Communications Commission, in a decision, frankly, that I still can't quite figure out, although I have my suspicions, erased the standard of net neutrality for American consumers. Instead of treating all internet traffic equally and allowing unfettered and uninterrupted service to all consumers, the FCC gave a green light to internet service providers, or ISPs, putting a yellow or red light on the delivery of content based on any number of criteria, including whether one company should pay to have their content treated more favorably than another's, or whether a service provider could make a consumer pay more to access their favorite websites, among other steps that were taken. We may not agree, and I know we don't, with everything that we see online, but that does not give us a justifiable reason to block the free, uninterrupted, and indiscriminate flow of information. And it certainly doesn't give certain well-heeled companies or individuals a right to pay their way to get to the front of the line. In his remarks prior to the vote to rescind net neutrality, FCC Chairman Ajit Pai returned again and again to his belief that consumers, not regulators, should hold the cards in terms of whether they want standards of net neutrality to be universally applied. I hope that pipe's not about to break. Are we okay? As a state, New Jersey cannot unilaterally regulate net neutrality back into law or cement it in state regulation. However, as a major purchaser of internet services, state government will follow the chairman's wishes and exercise our power as a consumer to make our preference known. Today, in a few minutes, I'm going to sign an executive order, I believe our 9th in 20 days. Counselor, is that right? That will require all internet service providers who wish to do business with the state of New Jersey to adhere to the principles of net neutrality. We are simply going to use our market power and market share to protect our choice that the ISPs we deal with adhere to net neutrality, and in doing so, we hope to protect the broader concerns of consumers throughout our state. And I have to give a shout out, at least in our deliberations leading up to today, in our deliberations with the ISPs. They have been reasonable. Many, if not most, if not all, we've spoken to have said that they would adhere as a sort of matter of honor to net neutrality in the way they do business. So the gripe is less consumer against provider. It's frankly that the referee is in the tank, the referee being the FCC and Donald Trump's administration, is in the tank for one of the teams at the expense of the other. So our gripe today is with the regulation as promulgated from the FCC and the Trump administration. In taking this step, New Jersey will proudly join Montana and New York in choosing to contract only with ISPs who support a free and open internet. And as I said, based on our conversations, we're highly confident that that will go smoothly. Now, in addition to this, and in consultation with Attorney General Grewal, I'm also announcing that New Jersey will join 21 of our sister states and the District of Columbia, so 21 other states and the District of Columbia, in legal action against the FCC filed by New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. Like these states, we agree that the elimination of net neutrality was an arbitrary and capricious decision based on misinformation and misinterpretation of existing federal law. It is a dangerous overreach that harms our consumers and businesses and gives an outsized ability of a few big companies to control the free flow of information for profit. We are going to fight for New Jersey's consumers on every possible front. Banding together, states have long had the ability to force change. It is my hope that more of our fellow governors from both sides of the aisle will join us in fighting for the interests of our residents, whether by adding their names to our joint lawsuit or by acting individually as consumers in the manner by which we will today with our executive order. By whichever means, our intent is clear. New Jerseyans deserve free, open, and equal access to the internet. The internet is no longer a curious plaything available only to a select few. It is now a vital part of everyday life, from making a purchase to receiving emergency alerts, to applying for a job, to reaching out to government at every level for needed assistance. Ensuring the ability of people and businesses like In Charged, and again, thank you for hosting us, to interact freely relies upon the internet remaining a free and open platform. And Aaron, I hope even more people come to the festival because they realize New Jersey is a friendly place for them to engage in the internet, and I hope across a whole number of other parameters. Again, I thank you all for coming out today. And all of the above, by the way, all of these actions ultimately will rely on protecting net neutrality. Thank you very much. I think we got time for a couple of questions. Does that work for you, Denny? So please, thank you. Michael? Please. Is this related to the game last night? Or? It was a heck of a game. So two different parts of my answer, Michael, if I can. Number one, I said to Michael over the weekend, different Michael, that first of all, it's early stages still for us. We're putting the building blocks of the budget together as we speak in a much more constrained time frame than you would normally have, given that we just got into office. But folks should assume we still are committed to both on the revenue side and on the investment side, the things we talked about throughout the campaign. And that includes tax equity and investment public education, etc. I just left the second part of my answer is we're not taking what's happening to us from the federal government lying down. And again, by the way, a frame around both parts of my answer is we are about reinvesting and rebuilding the middle class. The middle class has been ravaged over the past 8 years. It's been hollowed out. Our job, I believe we got elected because we said we would stand for a stronger and fairer economy that works for every New Jersey family, not just some. And so that's the sort of wraparound context for us. On the federal side, I just left a meeting with about, I don't know if any of my colleagues are here who were with me, but 30 or 35 mayors in Bergen County. And we had a great discussion about all the things that you would expect, property taxes and infrastructure and light rail, et cetera. But I made the point there on the federal side, we're not taking this lying down. And these are not just nice words. This is substantive, aggressive action on our part. One is legal, challenging the constitutionality of the so-called double taxation. And we're joining with New York and Connecticut and I believe California and others to challenge that. We have talked about converting payments that are no longer, at least for the moment, subject to deduction into a charitable deduction format, which the IRS has blessed in, I think, 33 other states, many of them red, not only for getting citizens in those states a deduction for private education, but that's a theme that runs through a lot of them. We believe there's ample precedent set that we could apply that notion to what would otherwise have been a property tax payment in New Jersey. And thirdly, we continue to examine other avenues, including what New York has talked a lot about, the governor in particular, about doing something similar but using the payroll tax. That one's a little complicated because not everybody works and not everybody lives and works in the same state, but we like the notion. So I just would say on the federal side, we're not taking this lying down and we'll continue to act aggressively. Please. I promise I won't give answers that long normally, by the way. Not sure I understood the premise is that millionaires will do well because of the federal plan, but they won't do it. It won't be as big a cut. So, I would come back to, I've not done that analysis compared to other states, but this is on its best day a get what you pay for state, whether it's a business or an individual. I'm proud of the fact that my wife and I, neither of us grew up here, planted our flag, in our case in Monmouth County 20 years ago. We weren't comparing New Jersey to Mississippi. So this is a state where you knew you walked in with your eyes open, you paid a premium, but you got a lot back for that premium. The problem we have in New Jersey, the premium over the past 8 years in particular, and particularly for the middle class, keeps going up and up and up, and the basket of stuff you get back has shrunk meaningfully and continues to shrunk. So I would say this, we have to prove, and that's why we stand for a stronger and fairer economy. Someone tagged me as a pro-growth progressive. We have to make sure that folks remember again, whether they're individuals, families, businesses, they say, I get it. I now know, I remember again why I'm in New Jersey. It's got the best location of any state in the country. We're beside the largest market in the world and one of the largest in the country. Top 3 public schools, top 3 educated workforce, the densest state in the nation, which gives us huge environmental challenges, but it gives us a huge leg up in the industry where these two have planted their flags. We're the most diverse state in the nation. We have thrived historically on infrastructure, ports, bridges, trains, rail, the green economy. That's the space we have to get back to where folks say, you know what, I get it. This is a state that is worth it. We're not losing a whole lot to Mississippi, and I'm not picking on Mississippi. Our competitors right now are Massachusetts, California, New York, and those states look a lot like us. On that note, can I sign the order, Mr. Bryant? Thank you all for coming out.